Okay, since I'm not here with you guys today, I just wanted to go over a little bit about the project. So you should have this paper in front of you, which gives you the instructions of what you're going to be doing in the project. So what you're going to be doing is using ratios and proportions, what we worked on yesterday, to create a blueprint of a classroom that we're going to put you in, okay? What you need to include is the outer perimeter of the classroom, including the windows and the doors. And then 4 additional items of your choosing. So those 4 items, you can pick any 4 large items that you want. You cannot pick like a textbook. You cannot pick the recycling box up front, but you could pick a table, you could pick one of the cabinets, the board. Basically, it needs to be bigger than like a 1 by 1, like 1 foot by 1 foot. So don't pick an outlet on the wall. You need to pick something that's a large, okay? What you're going to be doing is you're going to be making a blueprint that includes these items on it, okay? Make sure when you do your final that you're using a ruler and that you're labeling everything on it. So are you going to use inches? Are you going to use feet? What do you choose, okay? The rubric for this project is down below, so please make sure that you're paying attention to how I'm going to grade you. Notice it is worth 30 points, and remember, you can't do retakes on these. So make sure that you're paying attention to how much each one is worth, okay? Here in the middle are some suggestions of how to start this, okay? So what I would do first is I would take a blank sheet of paper, and remember, there is some white paper over on the side there by that little absent container thing. You can grab a blank sheet of paper, and what you're going to do is when you go to your classroom, you're going to probably do a rough sketch of the room. So let me just do mine, very quickly here. So there's the one with the windows, and then this would be the front wall, and then there's a little chunk, and then we've got the door here that opens, right? So we've got the door right here that kind of opens. And then we've got another little chunk of the wall, and then it kind of goes back a little bit, and then it continues across, okay? So see how I made a rough sketch of the classroom? What you're gonna do now is then you're gonna go through and you're gonna take your measurements. So like, let's say you measure this wall right here, okay? Let's just make it easy, and let's say this wall is 20 feet, okay? You're gonna go through and you're gonna measure all the dimensions of the walls, but now don't forget to include the windows. So on this far wall, if you're looking at our classroom right now, there's windows that go from here, like all the way across, okay? On the windows, just go ahead and give me the length. Basically, your blueprint, if you look at your picture here on the top corner, your blueprint is a top-down view, okay? So I need mostly, like if it's a window and it's along a wall, I just need a length. But if you're going to do a table, like let's say this was a table, I would need length and width, okay? So kind of think about it as if you're looking straight top down, what would you see? So here's my window. So then you would measure the windows, like maybe the windows are 12 feet. And then how long is the rest of the wall? So you're gonna need to go through and take all of these measurements and then put them down on your paper, okay? So this is like what I would call your rough draft. So this would be on step number 1, okay? Step number 2 says to measure them. Step number 3 says to pick 4 additional items. Now again, remember, you need to pick some larger items. Do not pick a wall outlet. Do not pick, a poster. You need to pick like a table or a cabinet, something that is, decent size that you can actually measure, okay? So pick 4 of them. Then, once you have done all your measurements, you're going to need to create a scale, okay? So let's just say my scale is 1/2 centimeter to 1 foot, okay? Whatever your scale is, you need to pick it. The only scale that you cannot use is 1 to 1. You cannot go 1 centimeter is to 1 foot. Can't do that. Or 1 inch is to 1 foot. Can't do that. You can't do 1 to 1. But you can pick any scale you want. Just make sure that the other groups that are in your room do not have the same scale as you. So you need to have different scales. So make sure you talk to them, okay? Because I know who's in what room. So make sure you have different scales. So once you pick your scale, then you're going to need to do your conversion. So I'm just going to do just this one. Okay, so mine was 20 feet. Now it's not really 20 feet, but you can measure it. So it's 20 feet. And now I need to get that into centimeters if that's what I'm going to use in my drawing. If you want to use inches on your drawing, then go to inches. It doesn't make any difference to me. Okay, so in 1 foot, I'm going to use half of a centimeter. Okay, see my conversion there? That means that 20 feet is really 10 centimeters. So this is really 10 centimeters on my drawing. So what I'm going to do is when I'm all ready for my final, I'm going to take a nice piece of graph paper and a ruler. And since I was doing this front wall, so this is the front of the classroom, I came out with my scale for 10 centimeters. So I'm going to take my ruler on the centimeter side and I'm going to measure 10 centimeters. So this is 10 centimeters, okay? Then you're going to have to do the same thing for all of these dimensions. So what should the windows really be? So if mine is 12 feet and this is my scale, then that means I should take half of 12, so then this should be 6 centimeters. But notice the windows don't go right to the very edge, so you also need to make sure you're doing this little measurement before you do your windows. So I need to see all the little dimensions. Basically, remember, the outer perimeter, that includes the door, and then there's windows up here, remember, too. Okay, so you've got basically 2 sections of windows, a door, and then the outer perimeter. And so you need to make sure when you go to your final draft that your measurements are accurate. So 10 centimeters is really the same thing as 20 feet. Okay, so make sure you have your scale on here as well. So my scale would be half a centimeter is to 1 foot. Okay, so remember, the scales that you cannot use are these. And I'm also going to say you can't use mine, which includes 1/2 inch to 1 foot. So you can't use these ones as well. Those ones are off limits for scales. So you can come up with any other scale that you want. You just can't use the ones that I've given you here. Okay? Now, remember, we're kind of going to be doing this today and tomorrow, so please don't panic if you're not done by the end of the day. But again, pay attention to the rubrics. I think some of you were kind of caught off guard on that last project we did, and you didn't pay attention to the breakdown. So remember, right here, outer dimension, it's 10 points. You need to make sure you have all the correct measurements. 4 additional items are 3 points each. So do you have a table? Do you have a cabinet? Do you have a whiteboard? What do you have? Okay, so make sure you're paying attention to that. And then I will be back on Friday so we can go over some questions and things like that as well. Good luck.